University of North Dakota uniquely was founded in 1883 as the first public university in the Dakota Territory. That's 6 years before North Dakota became a state. The Alumni Association was founded back with the very early graduates. Those few alumni back in those early days, the few graduates in those classes, they got together and said, let's have an alumni association. We had folks who stepped forward, graduates, and said, we want to stay connected with the university.
We couldn't have a more clear, concise, and exacting mission than that which was laid out by those first 8 graduates, that they would stay in contact with one another, that they'd stay in contact with the happenings of their university, and that in any way they could, they'd support the institution in any way possible.
These individuals reaching back and saying, we're going to build a greater and better University of North Dakota with confidence that those who follow will also continue that building. And that's part of our tradition. It's a wonderful tradition.
I never cease to be amazed by our alumni. Having contact with them and recognizing that despite the fact their success has come someplace else, they've never lost that humbleness, that common denominator of the work ethic, the great social skills, and the appreciation for what the state of North Dakota and the University of North Dakota meant to them along their life path. I never get tired of the joy of seeing how people feel about this place and how special it is.
We are so fortunate to have this university, and we must continue to support and strengthen it.
University of North Dakota means the world to me. It's opened up so many opportunities for myself.
The University of North Dakota, quite simply, I think is world class.
I am so proud of the University of North Dakota. I am so proud of the people.
Quite simply, UND has been good to me and good for me. Thank you so much for this award.
The Sioux Award, has a leg that goes way back in our history. Throughout all of its tenure, really has been symbolic of the exceptional alumni. It's really inspiring to look at the list of award winners and see the things that they've accomplished and the impact that they've had on people's lives. They aren't people that tend to draw attention to themselves. They go about doing their business. They think that's what they're supposed to do every day in life. And there's always been somebody along the path here at the institution that helped provide some of the inspiration that really has shaped who they are.
The University of North Dakota prepared me well to accept the world as an interesting place to be.
UND sent me out of here, I think, able to compete and beat most folks from the East Coast and the West Coast, which I guess I wasn't quite aware of until I had the opportunity to do it.
The University of North Dakota, I thank you. And I thank you, and I thank you again for mentoring me so I could help others in their time of need.
UND truly is the foundation that I built my career on.
Their professional achievements just tend to stand out, as a part of their everyday life. But when you really dig behind that and you find out who they are as people, you begin to understand why they're so worthy of receiving the award.
And I pledge to you that in return for this, for sure, undeserved, but very highly treasured reward of the Sioux Award, that I will dedicate myself to do my part to make sure that the students who load up their worldly possessions and head to the University of North Dakota will leave here equipped not with a wild imagination, but with the determination to reach for realistic dreams. God bless you and the University of North Dakota, and may the goodness of UND stay with you always.
The Sioux Award stands as the real-life example of what one life can mean for the benefit of others.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Tim O'Keefe, CEO of the UND Alumni Association and Foundation. Tim.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2013 Sioux Awards, a celebration of the best of UND. And in this 2013 homecoming, a special and historic celebration of philanthropy as well. I am Tim O'Keefe, the Executive Vice President and CEO of the UND Alumni Association and Foundation, and I'm a proud 1971 graduate of this exceptional university. Thank you for celebrating homecoming with us this year. Homecoming is always a special time of year for the Alumni Association and Foundation, and especially in recent years when we've had some big events tied to this weekend. Last year, you may remember, we held the grand opening of your new home on campus, the Gretzky Alumni Center. And back in 2010, we launched the public phase of North Dakota Spirit, the campaign for UND. Tomorrow, we'll celebrate the culmination of the Spirit campaign in a big way at 3 o'clock in the Chester Fritz Auditorium. I invite all of you to join us as we cheer the tremendous success of this effort. Most people thought that we were crazy to believe that we could raise $300 million for the benefit of UND. But we knew something that they overlooked. We knew about the incredibly generous alumni and friends of this great university, and we were confident that they would step up and show their North Dakota spirit. As you know, we passed our $300 million goal earlier this year, and we are now at Actually, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow to find out the final tally. We would not be able to pursue the Spirit campaign without the guidance, wisdom, and support of the National Campaign Steering Committee and the Alumni Association and Foundation's Board of Directors. Would the members of these two groups that are here with us tonight please stand and be recognized. Their commitment has been exceptional. Tonight we're here to honor a special brand of UND alumni, those who have built successful careers on the educational foundation established during their time on campus, and who have since shared their time, talent, and treasure to grow their communities, our country, and our university. We celebrate the spirit of our honorees at the UND Alumni Association's most prestigious evening of the year. We honor alumni who have differentiated themselves among their peers, all the while carrying the spirit of UND with them. They join a celebrated group of more than 450 who have received this honor since its inception in 1949. I'd like to now invite all previous Sioux Award recipients who are with us to please stand and be recognized. You each illustrate the successful road that can be traveled with a UND diploma in hand, and you've more than earned the recognition. We're very proud to call you, each of you, our alumni. Last year, we started a new tradition here at the Sioux Awards, a sponsor a student program. We thought it'd be a great way for students of today to be inspired by the successful accomplishments of our extraordinary alumni. In 2012, ticket sponsorship allowed 50 students to attend. This year, we're happy to say that tonight, the largest gathering we've ever had at a Sioux Awards, over 500 people here, that 68 students are here thanks to those sponsors whose names are listed in the back of your programs. And thanks to all of you who sponsored a student this evening. You have allowed our future alumni to experience this celebration of UND's extraordinary alumni and friends. I'd like to ask the students who are with us here tonight to please stand and be recognized as well. Students? Now I'm going to segue from the program for just a moment because I'd like to introduce the youngest student who's with us here tonight. Happens to be the CEO of my next job come next April 1. Please recognize the CEO of Grampy Inc., Avery Haxtell, over here, who's with her father, mother, Dave and Aaron Haxtell, and my beautiful wife, Becky. Avery? You may also notice there's only one balloon this evening at a table, and I can't pass this opportunity up. It's right over here at table 2, the same table, and tonight we're going to celebrate, I'm not sure exactly what birthday it is, but the birthday of our Lieutenant Governor, Drew Wrigley. So Drew, if you'd please stand, I know you have never had 500 people sing happy birthday to you before. So Drew, please stand, and ladies and gentlemen, with the Irish Choir, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Drew, happy birthday to you. I'm sure the rebuttal will be fun. Now, please join me in welcoming our esteemed 11th President, Dr. Robert Kelly. President Kelly has been a great partner in the Spirit Campaign and is leading our great university through some exceptional times. Ladies and gentlemen, President Robert Kelly.
Tim, thank you very much. And on behalf of the entirety of the University of North Dakota's community, our students, our faculty, our staff, welcome to the Sioux Awards for 2013. Now, we have a very, very special strategic vision for our university. We call it Exceptional UND. We worry about the learning environment. We focus on the learning environment, and we work together through collaboration to make that learning environment the very best that we can. We reach out across the state, the nation, the world. We come together in events like this to gather, to share our lives, and in so doing, we enhance the quality of our lives immensely. These are the visionary elements of Exceptional UND. Tonight, every single one of our alumni, every single awardee, whether they be mature or our junior awardees, exemplify and personify in every way the exceptional values of this remarkable, exceptional UND. Our entire university community honors you. We celebrate with you. Congratulations on this distinction that you have brought to your families, yourselves, and to the University of North Dakota. We're very glad that you're here.
Thank you, President Kelly. Good evening, everyone. I am Sarah Kotelnicki, the Director of Alumni and Public Relations with UND Alumni Association and Foundation. It is my privilege to honor tonight's Young Alumni Achievement Award recipients. The Young Alumni Achievement Award was established in 2002 to recognize recent graduates of the University of North Dakota who have made a mark in the short time since they left this campus. First up tonight, a woman well known to students on campus, Cassie Gerhardt. I think it's fair to say that Cassie loves UND. She is the Assistant Dean of Students for Student Involvement and Leadership and has been tied to the university since taking her very first class in 1991. Student leaders are busy, and Cassie was absolutely no exception. She was an RA, served in student government, and was chapter president of her sorority. She juggled all of this while earning a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and a Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education. While working with orientation programs as an undergraduate, Cassie was mentored by a supervisor. That supervisor introduced her to the field of student development and encouraged her to attend graduate school. She took that advice and ran with it. In 1999, she earned a master's degree in counseling and student personnel from Oklahoma State University. 3 years later, she was offered a job as UND's coordinator of Greek life, just one day before her husband, Brad Parrish, was accepted to the UND School of Law. So, as fate determined, they packed up their belongings and returned to North Dakota. Cassie has said, "There is something about this place that just pulls me back. I love UND." This is very true. If her words aren't proof enough, her wardrobe, heavily rooted in the official school colors, green and pink, should serve as a visual to solidify her passion. Since returning to UND in 2002, Cassie has earned a PhD in educational leadership and has served in various roles on campus. She has also been an active national volunteer for her sorority and currently serves on Alpha Chi Omega's National Housing Corporation Board of Directors. Her commitment for student involvement continues through her involvement as a member of several industry associations and boards. Earlier, I mentioned that Cassie is well known on campus by students, but her ability to lead and mentor isn't limited to students. She has inspired countless individuals through her leadership, myself included. She shows her love of UND by consistently giving of her time and her talents through volunteerism and her daily work. Cassie and her husband also contribute financially. When Brad graduated first in his law class in 2005, there was no financial award for such a prestigious accomplishment. Cassie took matters into her own hands. For his 40th birthday, she gave him a gift that would give each year. She established the Brad Parrish Scholarship at the School of Law, awarded each year to the top graduating law student. Together, they also support the UND Greek Chapter Presidential Scholarship. Cassie, for all of your hard work and dedication to this great university and its exceptional students, please come forward and accept your Young Alumni Achievement Award.
Sarah, like you said, everything I said you should say, so thanks. I want to begin by thanking the UND Alumni Association and Foundation Board and staff for selecting me for this honor. To be recognized with this award is surprising and somewhat ironic because unlike many of you, I really never wanted to attend UND. My childhood included UND hockey games on TV, mocking references to North Dakota State University, and an education on the difference between owning the farm and working on the farm. So although I grew up to adamantly dislike the Bison, I didn't actually grow up loving UND. When I was considering colleges, my goal was to leave North Dakota for the East Coast. As with all decisions in my life, my parents were very supportive and told me I could attend the college of my choosing, but that tuition payments would be sent to Twomley Hall. It was up to me to decide whether or not I would have an account at UND to which they could be applied. So with little enthusiasm, I decided to attend the University of North Dakota. Although I was coerced into attending, it only took until the end of the first day of my welcome weekend to fall in love with UND and for my blood to begin mutating green and pink. It pains me to admit that my parents were right, but about UND, they definitely were. I'm just glad I was smart enough to take their advice and tuition assistance and attend UND. Although it is just my name on the award, I never would have achieved this honor had it not been for my parents. Pat and Ed Gerhardt, their hard work and sacrifices made college possible for my brothers and I, and my UND experience so incredible. Thanks to them, I had the privilege of taking full advantage of every opportunity college life offers in undergraduate, a privilege that I know not all students are afforded. Whether it was joining a sorority, attending leadership conferences, running for student body president and losing, or staying in college an extra year so I could be president of my sorority, a request that was helped by the fact that although I had been at UND for 3.5 years, at that time I had changed my major so many times that I needed more than just another semester to actually complete a degree program. Regardless, no matter the request, my parents always said yes. If not for my mom and dad, I never would have attended UND, I may not have graduated, and I certainly wouldn't have learned or grown as much as I did. All of my achievements are directly related to my parents and their sacrifices and support. Yes, Mom, I know I was spoiled. Thanks to both of you for all that you have done to make this possible. Although I tribute my parents for much, I credit UND in some way, shape, or form for almost every other blessing in my life. The literal translation for alma mater is fostering mother, and that is exactly what UND was for me. I got an outstanding undergraduate and doctoral education at UND, both in and out of the classroom. In higher ed, we talk a lot about the things that positively influence student success, retention, and graduation. For me, it wasn't a program or a class that made the difference. Instead, it was the investment of time, energy, care, and support by a number of individuals that directly correlated to my success as a student. Without them, my college experience and probably my life would be very different. It was my RA who helped make the 4th floor of Norrin Hall a home during my freshman year, as she was the one who answered all my questions and helped me manage the many challenges I faced during my first year of college. It was the friend I met my sophomore year in the Terrace Dining Center who helped me get connected to student government and involved on campus. She quickly became my best friend and confidant, and over time has become a member of my family. It was my sorority sisters who made the Alpha Chi Omega house a home and who recognized my potential as a leader and supported me while at the same time holding me accountable to the values and standards of our organization. It was my supervisor when I was a student employee who, after I had changed my major for the 7th time and professed my love for college life in general, told me that higher ed, this thing I love so much, was a legitimate field of study, and she introduced me to the profession of student affairs. I remember the day like it was yesterday. I went to the bookstore. I found a book on the history of higher ed. I bought the book, read it, and started making plans for my future. After 3.5 years at UND, I had found my passion. Since that day, I have never considered another profession, and that book still sits on my shelf. That same supervisor became a mentor, encouraged me to attend graduate school at her alma mater, Oklahoma State. And thank goodness I did, because 6 days after getting to OSU to begin my graduate assistantship, a fellow hall director asked me out on a date, and well, the rest of that story is history. So if not for UND and that supervisor, I may never have found a career, and I certainly wouldn't have met my husband. So I really can credit UND for the most important blessings in my life. When I was an undergraduate, my favorite place on campus was the Memorial Union. It was my social networking site long before Facebook or Twitter. I thought it would be so cool to work in the MU one day, so to go to work in the Memorial Union for the past 12.5 years is truly a dream come true. Similar to my time as an undergraduate, as a staff member, I have the privilege of working with amazing students, staff, faculty, and administrators who every day challenge and support me. I only hope that I'm impacting students as positively as others did me when I was an undergraduate. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Far and away the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." I couldn't agree more. I love what I do, and I can't imagine doing anything else or doing it anywhere else. My blood began changing on Welcome Weekend in 1991, and today it, and parts of my closet, flow green and pink. Last week, a dear friend, someone whom I love like a sister, experienced a health scare, the type of thing that slaps you in the face and causes you to rethink your priorities. It was yet another reminder to me that educational accomplishments, professional titles, and awards are great, but without family and friends to share them with, they are just hollow accomplishments. At the end of the day, the achievements of which I am most proud and for which I am most grateful are the relationships I have with family, friends, and colleagues, and I have UND to thank for most of them. There is little in my life that I have achieved as a solo act, so there are numerous people deserving of my thanks and appreciation. Because if it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a small metropolis to prop me up on a daily basis. I am truly blessed to have a wonderful family, friends, mentors, supervisors, students, and colleagues who enrich my life and make me a better person. At the risk of inadvertently missing anyone, especially since so many who deserve thanks are here tonight, I won't name names. I hope you all know who you are and that at some point I have done or said something to show my appreciation to all of you for all that you have done for me. I wouldn't be here without you. There are 3 people who I do need to thank by name, as they deserve their own special awards for putting up with the chaos that I bring to our lives. They are the trio I affectionately refer to as my parish boys, my husband Brad Parrish and our sons Jack and Alex. They are my #1 priority, my cheerleaders and supporters, and they are more patient and understanding of me than I likely deserve. So Jack, Brad, and Alex, thanks for all the hugs, especially when I have a bad day, and thanks for letting me be me and for supporting, tolerating, and loving me. I love the 3 of you very much. In closing, ever since Tim and Deanna told me that I had been selected for this award, I have been waiting for someone to notify me that my selection was made in error. As I know there are countless UND alumni who are likely more deserving of this award than me, and some who are even a bit younger. But since the call never came, I'll accept the award as recognition of my unconditional loyalty to, pride in, and love for the University of North Dakota. Because of my UND experience, I hope I've made a positive difference in the world and that I've made my alma mater proud. This award will also serve as a permanent reminder that at the age of 40, I was considered young. Thank you so much for this recognition.
Congratulations, Cassie. You are very deserving of this award, and it is always a pleasure to work with you. Our next Young Alumni Achievement Award recipient is an expert in the field of economic productivity. Considering how productive Chad Syverson was when he studied at UND, he certainly practices what he preaches. Chad graduated from UND with a double major in mechanical engineering and economics. He is now a professor of economics at the University of Chicago's prestigious Booth School of Business. Not only does he teach and conduct research, but he recently co-authored a college textbook adopted by colleges across the country. Chad's success in the classroom started well before his time at the University of North Dakota. As a senior at Grand Forks Red River High School, Chad was one of 141 students in the entire United States to be recognized as a National Presidential Scholarship. The honor included a trip to the White House to meet then-President George Bush. As a mechanical engineer student at UND, Chad was required to take a basic economics class. He found that he enjoyed the subject, leading him to double major at UND. This decision eventually led to a master's and PhD in economics from the University of Maryland. The Grand Forks native's first academic appointment was to the University of Chicago in 2001. Where he received tenure in 2007. This time frame of achievement is unprecedented and provides a great example of his expertise and productivity. Over the last couple of years, he has worked with 2 university colleagues, Stephen Levitt, co-author of the best-selling Freakonomics, and Austin Goolsbee, chair of President Obama's Council of Economic Advisors, on a college textbook that is now being used in classrooms around the world. Chad says economics has been his passion because it's a great way to understand why the world works the way it does. Chad stays connected with UND as an avid UND sports fan, and hopefully this week's various competitions supply several wins to meet his fan demands. Chad, for becoming an expert in your field, advancing our knowledge of productivity, and writing a textbook being used to advance the knowledge of college students around the world, please come forward to accept your Young Alumni Achievement Award.
Thank you, everyone. This is humbling stuff. No one gets where they are in life by themselves, and I have had a lot of help the entire way. There were 3 groups of people who made my time at UND as special as it was. That's faculty, friends, and family, and I'm fortunate that folks from each of those groups have been able to come share this evening with me. My teacher and mentor, Professor Pat O'Neill from the Economics Department, is here with his wife, Gail. My teammate, roommate, best man, and best friend, Dave Hilsheim, is here with his wife, Renee. My parents, Ryle and Vetta, my sisters, Kirsten and Jenny, their husbands, Eric and Hunter, my parents-in-law, Rhonda Marie, sisters-in-law, Miranda and Chrissy, brothers in outlaw, Jay and Rob, and of course, at the center of it all, my lovely wife, Janaea, who, as it happens, is 8.5 months pregnant, so if I get the signal, this speech is going to end abruptly. This award means so much because I am so immensely proud to be a North Dakotan and to be an alumnus of the University of North Dakota. One of the great things about my job is I get to work with and meet people from around the world. And I still feel a little shot of thrill when I meet someone for the first time and they ask me where I'm from or where I did my undergraduate work. And the reason why is because I know the answer I'm about to give them will not be met with indifference. I love to watch their reaction. North Dakota always gets a comment. And quite often that reaction is something to the effect of, well, I've never met anyone from there before. It sounds like you've had the same experience. And I think that raises an important point. When we are outside these borders, we stand in for something bigger than ourselves. No one forms their opinion of California or New York based on meeting one person. But for North Dakota and the University of North Dakota, we might be the only personal connection that individual will ever have to our state and to our university. And I've tried to be mindful of that. In my life and career, I've tried to let that pride show through, and I just hope that I've represented the people for whom I stand in as well as I possibly could and will continue to do so. One quick story along those lines before I sit down. Sorry, when you put a professor behind a lectern, it's not going to end that quickly. It was my first week in graduate school at the University of Maryland, and the Director of Graduate Studies was hosting a reception for the new class at his house. And I was there with my new classmates, of course, and some of us were in a conversation circle. And as econ PhD programs are these days, my class was a cosmopolitan group. Just in this conversation circle, there were 3 of us from North America, but there were also classmates of mine from Argentina, Germany, Turkey, China, and Nepal. Kathmandu, Nepal, in fact. And a faculty member who hadn't met us yet came over, broke into the circle, introduced herself, and said, well, tell me a little something about yourselves. Where are you all from? And there was a pause for a moment as my classmates and I kind of looked at each other trying to intuit who was going to answer first. And then one of my classmates held up his hand and pointed at me and said, you go last. You're the most exotic. And he was not joking, dead serious. And for a fraction of a second, I was taken aback. What are you saying, I'm some sort of bumpkin or something? And then I thought another half a second, and I realized, more exotic than Kathmandu, Nepal. I can work with that. Yeah, I can work with that. We all can work with that, can't we? Exotic is alluring. Exotic is special. As they say in golf, that's not a bad place to come in from. So, UND has been the place that's put me in that exotic locale. So, thank you again, everyone, and enjoy your evening.
Congratulations, Chad. You are a very deserving recipient of our Young Alumni Achievement Award. Let's extend another round of applause for our young Alumni Achievement recipients, Cassie Gerhardt and Chad Syverson. And now as we begin our meal, please welcome Pastor Kathy Vick of the Christus Rex Lutheran Campus Ministry. Pastor Kathy.
Good evening. It is a beautiful autumn evening of Thanksgiving. I know that's true because as I drove here tonight, the fields were empty and black. The harvest of beets was off the fields near my home, and there was a V of geese flying overhead south. Well, this evening we come to celebrate lives well lived, dreams which have become reality, and a university family reunited in its homecoming. So let us pray. God of grace and mercy, we celebrate this night the dedication and achievements of those we honor. For the talents, the perseverance, and the spirit that have defined your children, Linda, Randy, Owen, Bob and Kris, Cassie and Chad, we celebrate and rejoice. We bring our thanks for inquisitive minds and generous hearts, and for a university we love that nurtures dreams and encourages growth. We offer thanks for the food before us, and we remember your call to work for justice for those who have no food. For your continuing love and for your mercies which go before us and follow after us, we give thanks. We celebrate this night with good food, good words, good memories, and good friends. Bless our evening, our eating and drinking, our fellowship and our laughter. Ignite your spirit in each of us as we journey onward in your loving care. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you continue your dinner, please enjoy the joyous voices of Allegro, the UND Women's Chorus, under the direction of Melanie Popejoy.
Hail to thee with heart and tongue. Pride we feel and love yet greater, while we raise our grateful song. Home of lofty thought and learning, beacon o'er our western land, shrine once still the ever-burning torches passed from hand to hand. Hail to thee, O alma mater, hail to thee with heart and tongue. Pride we feel and love yet greater, while we raise our grateful song. Home of lofty thought and learning, beacon o'er our western land, shine where still the ever-burning torches pass from hand to hand.
Good evening. It is a wonderful honor for us to be performing for you this evening. This is the University of North Dakota Allegro Women's Ensemble from the University of North Dakota Department of Music, and we are ecstatic to be singing for you this.
Our first Sioux Award recipient is well known in Grand Forks. Randy Newman has been a leader at Alerus Financial for more than 30 years. He is credited with holding the bank together after the devastation of the 1997 flood, as well as growing Alerus into one of the top performing banks in the country. Randy graduated from UND in 1975, and he and his wife Anita moved to Chicago. But the stay in the Windy City was marred by a fire, robbery, and an automobile train accident. Tragedies that convinced the family to move back to North Dakota for good. Randy received his master's degree from UND in 1979, and he began teaching corporate finance and strategic planning at the university. In 1981, Randy joined Alerus Financial and continued teaching part-time until 1987, when he was named president of the bank. He's seen a lot in his time at Alerus Financial, including 26 years as president and 18 years as president and CEO. He helped guide Alerus through bank industry deregulation, the Grand Forks flood of 1997, and the near collapse of the banking industry in 2008. Under his guidance, Alerus Financial has flourished. When he started in 1981, the bank had 1 branch, 225 employees, and $125 million in assets. Today, there are 14 locations, including Grand Forks, Fargo, the Twin Cities, and Scottsdale, Arizona, as well as 560 employees and $1.3 billion in assets. Alerus is also among the top 10% of banks nationwide in financial performance. In 2007, Randy was awarded the prestigious Henry Havig Award, Grand Forks' highest community leadership award. And in 2008, he was named Banker of the Year by Northwestern Financial Review. Randy gives UND credit for setting him up to be successful. He says, quote, "Without a doubt, my time at UND became the foundation of my development and was instrumental in my career," end quote.
Anywhere Randy goes and talks about our company, without question, people walk away from that conversation and say, wow, I'd either like to work there, I'd like to be a customer of Alerus Financial, or I would like to invest in Alerus Financial. And that's all comes out of this incredible sense of pride that Randy has and his enthusiasm for our company.
Randy is the most honest person I know in banking and in business. That is very, very important. When you're dealing with people at the level that Randy is, they size you up pretty quickly. And when you're dealing with someone that's honest, it makes business fun. First of all, he's very accomplished at what he does. And the foundation of that success, in my opinion, is his integrity.
But what many may not know about Randy is the wonderful individual that he is.
He saved the bank, and in many ways he saved many people from losing their jobs, losing their homes.
That sense of pride that Randy has for our company is such a key ingredient to our success.
I think a pivotal, he asked me for a pivotal moment, and when you watch somebody who you really see, you think they're good, and then you see that one moment and you see how they react, and like I said, it's more than one moment. This is a long time, and watching him over that, I'll tell you, I'll never forget it. Not many people could have done what he did.
After working with him for 30 years, I think his moral compass that he developed and his strong personal philosophy certainly began at UND.
The level of integrity that Randy approached those difficult choices has never failed to impress me. So to give you one example, I could give you many, just where he always shines. I go back to that integrity. It's amazing to me, and it's wonderful.
Randy, for taking Alerus Financial from a great bank to an exceptional one, and for all you have done to promote Grand Forks and the University of North Dakota. Please come forward to accept your Sioux Award.
Good evening, everyone. I would be smart not to say anything after that video. I'm overwhelmed, I have to admit. And thank you, Deanna, for those very kind words in introduction. And as I've prepared tonight, I have to admit that this is a day that I've been waiting to come and to be over, in a good way, of course, because I think I've changed my speech 6 times in anticipation of tonight. But this experience has become a very great opportunity for me to reflect back on my life, what I've done, where I am today, who has helped me along the way, and where I want to be tomorrow. I also appreciate the opportunities to share a few photos of my life with you, including my changing hairstyle, my wonderful family, including my 5 beautiful granddaughters. Not everyone gets to watch over the women that I have in my family. And then a few photos of my history with Alerus Financial, which has become such a big part of my life. But before I begin with my remarks, I would like to take this time to thank the University of North Dakota's Alumni Foundation for this evening's recognition dinner, for giving me the privilege and the honor of receiving the Sioux Award. I'm very humbled to receive this award and very appreciative of the opportunity to share this with my associates at Alerus Financial and to thank some of the people who have had an impact on my life. I would also like to recognize and congratulate the other award winners here tonight, Linda Pancratz, Owen Anderson, Bob and Kris Solberg, and the young alumni recipients, Cassie, Gerhardt, Chad Syverson. It's an honor to be recognized tonight with you and to have my name placed along the distinguished recipients of past Sioux Award. I'd like to share with you what I believe receiving the Sioux Award means to me. First of all, my parents would be so very proud of me. I believe nobody gets anywhere in life without help from others, and I'm certainly no exception. The Sioux Award is truly an award for Team Newman, and I share this with my wife, Anita, my children, David, Kelly, and Stacy, and my associates at Alerus Financial. I'm fortunate throughout my life, several people have seen something in me that, quite frankly, I didn't see, beginning with my wife, Anita, who has always been my biggest supporter. Since Anita and I first dated in 1969, she has sacrificed, supported, and pushed me to become a better person. Simply put, I'm a lucky person to have her in my life, and I would never be the person I am today or would have received this award without her. The greatest decision, thank you. The greatest decisions that I've made in my life were to marry Anita, go to UND, and to work at Alerus Financial. I am just so fortunate where my life is today. From where I began to where I am today, this is just not what I expected. I'm very, very proud to be a banker, and I truly enjoy what I do, who I work for, and who I work with. There simply has never been a day when I did not look forward to going to work. I'm fortunate in that I get to learn something new every day, and I get to make a meaningful contribution in the lives of others, including our customers, our 560 employees, and the Grand Forks community. Most importantly, I get to live my life doing the right things in an ethical way. Who could ask for anything better? Ironically, receiving the Sioux Award comes in the very best year of our company's history. And when you look back at the challenges our company faced after the flood and fire, there was a fire also with the flood. Where we are today is even more impressive. For those of you that might have forgotten or didn't know, Grand Forks was literally in a depression during the 1990s. We faced the downsizing of the Grand Forks Air Force Base, significant ag challenges, and of course the flood of 1997. I probably speak for many of you as a North Dakota native when I state that I never, ever thought in my lifetime that I would see North Dakota in the economic shape we are in today, or to be ranked #1 in the country, more or less economic development. And I can also say the same about Alerus Financial, which is currently performing in the top 10% of all the banks in the United States. As a company, we were significantly affected by the flood, but quite frankly, more so by the fire that destroyed our 3 downtown buildings and all of our customer and company files. I'm so very proud of our employees and the way in which we dealt with those very challenging times. Representing our company, I've spoken nationally 3 times about our experiences. First at the National American Bankers Association in front of more than 3,000 bankers. Next at a national IBM conference on disaster recovery. And finally, I was invited by the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11 to attend an interagency meeting of all federal banking regulators to share our experiences. Through the dedicated efforts of so many, Grand Forks, UND, and Alerus Financial have not just recovered and survived, we have prospered and grown. I believe this is mainly due to our North Dakota heritage, which exemplifies our work ethic, our personal values, and our commitment to take personal responsibility for our actions. Let me tell you what the impact that UND has had on my life. I grew up in a wonderful little community appropriately named Candu, and learned small town values of hard work, personal responsibility, and a sense of community. Growing up, I was influenced by 2 teachers, in particular, my 2nd grade teacher and my high school math teacher, who helped me develop a strong interest in mathematics. Thank goodness for the opportunity that existed in our great country at that time. If it wouldn't have been for student loans and my willingness to work construction during the summer and other jobs during the school year, I would not have been able to attend UND, nor would I imagine I would be where I am today or receiving this great honor tonight. I sincerely hope that our great country continues to give these educational opportunities to other less fortunate young people, because I believe these opportunities create hopes, build dreams, and this combined with personal values and hard work develops our leaders of tomorrow. UND helped me learn how to learn, and they helped me develop my personal philosophy about life. It helped develop my communication skills. It helped me learn how to make well thought out decisions. We call those risk-return decisions in finance. Mostly it gave me the opportunity to learn from others and their experiences. Most of the people I met when I came to UND were from very different backgrounds than me, all with big dreams and ambitions. UND helped me become more self-confident of my ideas, develop my abilities, learn from others, and to imagine my future. I must admit that most of my learning and development at UND occurred after my undergraduate years when I came back for my MBA. While I have very good memories of my time at UND, it was during my graduate school years that I took more personal responsibility for my education and realized all the advantages that UND provides students. I devoted myself to graduate school and did very well, but all of my job offers were from out of state. For various personal reasons, Anita and I were committed to finding a job in the state. And at that time, my graduate school advisor simply told me, teach until I could find a job. I ended up teaching at UND full-time from 1979 to 1981 until I left to join banking, and part-time from 1981 until I became president of Alerus Financial in 1987 at the age of 34. Who knew then that teaching would help me organize myself, continue my education, and develop my communication skills, all of which have become very important for the requirements of my job today. So without a doubt, my time at UND did become the foundation of my development and has been very instrumental in building my career. I want to finish tonight with a few very heartfelt thank yous. First of all, to my parents, Levy and Violet Newman, for adopting me and treating me like one of their own. To Bernice Box-Kruger and Frank Kruger, my can-do teachers, for giving me the love of mathematics. To my brothers at Kappa Sigma fraternity for giving me a home and family on campus, something that I desperately needed when I came to UND. To Dr. Paul Taylor for encouraging me to teach while looking for employment. To my predecessor at the bank, Dick Wold, for giving me the opportunity to come to First National Bank and now Alerus Financial. To Herb Stennis, a mentor who taught me the right way of banking. And to the past and present boards of Alerus Financial for giving me the opportunity to lead Alerus Financial. These past directors are very well known in Grand Forks, very well known at UND. Pete Smith, Howie Smith, Kurt Olson, Dick Wold, Dr. John Lambie, Dave Baller, George Unruh, Wes Rydell, and Randy Naring. Our current directors include Hal Gershman, Kevin Lemke, Jim Carley, Karen Bone, Lloyd Case, Sally Wold Smith, Bart Holliday, and our most recent director, a gentleman by the name of Galen Vetter. What is known about those directors, they're all well-known leaders, all very successful. All of them, except for the last one we put on, are from North Dakota. And they have very strong ties to UND, including several former Sioux Award recipients and an honorary doctorate recipient. In fact, our most recent director is the very first non-North Dakota director on our board. North Dakota people have been willing to help us stay and be successful. The North Dakota and UND connection has served our company very, very well over the years. I would also like to recognize my executive management team, Kris Compton, who has worked with me for over 30 years, Carl Bollingberg, Eric Carlson, and John Henry, who we've worked together for over 20 years. And recently, as we've expanded into Minneapolis, Jay Kim, John Flesh, and Dave Latta, who have joined our team in Minneapolis. Thank you for allowing me to be your coach and the privilege to serve with you. I also want to thank UND for honoring me with this award tonight, but mostly for giving me an education and for building my confidence. I'd also one last time like to thank my children, David, Kelly, and Stacy, their families, for accepting me for who I am and for tolerating my father knows everything mentality. And last, and certainly not least, my wife Anita, who I dated 44 years ago and have been married to for 38 years. I would simply never, I would not be the person that I am today without your support, your sacrifice, your encouragement. Most of all, thank you for giving me the family that I never had, but always wanted. Thank you again for this honor, for giving me the opportunity to thank these people who have helped me. Thank you.
Our next award recipients are two UND graduates and North Dakota natives who left their home state shortly after graduation, have lived around the world, but who remain loyal to their alma mater. Bob and Christine Solberg both graduated from UND in 1969, Christine with a degree in nursing and Bob with a degree in civil engineering. Shortly after graduation, Bob heard opportunity knocking in the oil fields of the Midwest. He took a job with Texaco and spent 12 years in drilling and production before moving up the corporate ladder, landing as president of Upstream Commercial Development. From the 1990s until about 2002, he was in charge of developing new oil fields anywhere in the world. The job took Bob and Christine from Louisiana to Texas to Connecticut to London and a few stops in between before settling back in Texas, where they remain today. In the late 1990s, the Solbergs rekindled their relationship with the University of North Dakota, and Bob served on the UND Alumni Association and Foundation Board of Directors. Most recently, they both served on the National Campaign Steering Committee for North Dakota Spirit, the campaign for UND. And Christine also serves on the College of Nursing and Professional Disciplines Advisory Council. Bob and Christine are avid supporters of the College of Engineering and Mines and the College of Nursing and Professional Disciplines. Christine says being involved with UND has been a blessing as they've made new friends, learned about what awesome alumni UND has, and they've been able to make a difference in the future of the university, and most importantly, in its students. And Bob says, quote, "Helping North Dakota prosper is the most important thing we've done in the way of hard work," end quote.
I met Bob and Christine when they met at UND, and as I have thought about how pleased Christine's mother was that her maiden name was Solberg, and here was this man named Solberg that Christine was interested in.
Bob actually had a choice, to wait and see or to become an early supporter. So he chose to become an early believer of our program and what we do. So to me, Bob is a true pioneer.
I think in the opportunities that Bob has been given with his job, they've been able to have some wonderful opportunities throughout the world.
Bob also is a great role model. As someone who had a very successful career, not only in the US, but also globally.
And I think wherever they were, they made use of their circumstances to dig in, to educate themselves, and to offer the other people in the society to try and better the environment that they were in.
It's very important that we prepare our students to be competitive in a global market. And as a matter of fact, that's exactly what Bob did throughout his career.
Bob and Christine, we are so happy to be able to say that you are UND alumni, and we are honored to recognize all you have both accomplished and all that you have done for this great university. Please come forward to accept your Sioux Awards. My table that this would be 60 seconds. So I might have to stretch that a little longer. President Kelly and Mrs. Kelly, Mama and Ken, Tim and Deanna, all the other Sioux Award recipients, the Capital Campaign Committee that we've been honored to be a part of, and all of our friends that are here tonight. Friends have shown up from that I had no idea were coming. And we thank you all so very much. And to Kathy, making these wonderful remarks. And I didn't know Kathy was going to be here tonight. And Hisham, thank you guys. We are very, very humbled by this award and very honored to be among such a distinguished group. I've made so many friends, and I've learned so much about our university, about North Dakota, and finances, which have really helped me by being on the Capital Campaign Committee, and I thank you all. The College of Nursing gave me a career where I've been able to work anytime we've moved, 17 moves, and I've always been able to find a job if I wanted one. Actually, I even taught a Lamaze class this last Tuesday night, so I'm still working. Pi Beta Phi, which was a part of my education, as I was talking to Kaylee at our table, a sorority gave us an education in itself. And for that, it was a big part of our lives here at the University of North Dakota. And both Karen and myself sang in the university chorus. That was back in the days when there wasn't just a women's group, but we were honored to sing with the guys too. So that was kind of good. And I still sing in my church choir, and I love that very much. Above all, I want to thank Bob, my husband, because we have been together for 43 years. We've had an amazing time. We've lived in exotic and wonderful places. I was thinking about when they were talking about being exotic, and we indeed did discover we were that exotic animal in all these places because we were from North Dakota too. And as I was sitting there, another thing that came across to me that I discovered I was exotic because I grew up in a funeral home. I did. Anyway, we thank our 3 children and their beautiful families and all of our grandchildren. My one daughter called today and said that they aren't here with us right now and they all feel so bad, but she said she dressed Will in his green UND t-shirt today. so he's here. Both Bob and I are so very thankful to our parents. We both started our careers and our married lives, which all began within a month, between graduating, getting married, and moving to Kansas. But we were able to start without any debt. And that's an amazing thing to say, and very few students are able to do that. And it's to our parents that we owe that great debt of gratitude. So I thank my mother and my father and Bob's parents as well. My mother, my kids told me I shouldn't tell any jokes, but I'm going to anyway. She always ends everything. She's spoken at the kids' weddings, and I found a joke, and I thought it was pretty funny, so I only have 60 seconds. There's a tough old Badland rancher, and he told his grandson that the secret to long life was to sprinkle a little gunpowder on his oatmeal every morning. And I have to add that Mama had oatmeal for breakfast this morning. Mama is 93, my mother. This grandson did this religiously, and he lived to be 93. When he died, he left 14 children, 28 grandchildren, 35 great-grandchildren, and a 15-foot hole in the wall of the crematorium. Thank you. Also, along with that, from Deanna and for all these committees all these meetings we've attended, there's always a good quote. And this morning, I walk 4 miles every morning, and I try to do that religiously. And I was walking, and I walked inside of Alaris here, and I hope you all, when you leave here, you do notice it, but down across from the box office, right down the hall here, there's a quote, and it says, "The achievements of an organization are the results of the combined effort of each individual." And that's by Vince Lombardi. And it's on the whole great big wall when you walk in down there by the box office. And to me, that's what this has all been about. And the capital campaign that we've been on, and being with the University of North Dakota again, to all the meetings, to the many alumni that we've met far and wide. And we are so very honored and humbled to receive this award. I thank you all very, very much.
Well, life's not fair. She showed me her speech yesterday, and that wasn't it. So I'll see what I can do to make the best of recovery here. Randy Newman said it right. I think you got dating in 1969. We did that too, but it was my second year of senior, and Kris's first, and we needed to go somewhere and do something and have some fun. So I'll tell you a quick story about that first retirement. But first, I'll tell you how I met Kris and how it went. I met her in October at, I think it was the last football game of the year, but it was a very cold football game. And by the time we got acquainted in the student union, we became very good friends, and a day was, after all, a long time. So by Christmas, I was convinced that I should marry her. And she said I had to go out and convince her mother, who's right over there somewhere. So we bravely drove to Houston and asked Shirley for permission, and she met us on the back step outside at a temperature about 20 degrees below zero. The questions that she asked me were 3, and she wasn't going to invite me in until I did it. And so she wanted to know what heritage I brought to the place. And I told her it was Scandinavian, mostly Norwegian, and she thought that was pretty good. And so then she asked me another question and said, "You're old enough to vote. What's your political alignment in this world?" Now, you may notice I've got a tie with elephants on it. I don't always vote that way, but I brought it for Shirley. And finally, she asked her last question is, what religion are you? Assuming I had one. And I said, well, Lutheran, of course. And she said, well, that's a good start, but what's the complete answer? Which Lutheran? I guessed correctly. We got permission in a week. So the second chapter in life is we moved 33 times. She said 34, but that was a move back to Houston. Or 17, I'm sorry, and 34. And we worked all over the world, and there's guys at the table right here in front that can tell you more stories than I want them to tell. So be careful what you ask them. The world presented a lot of unpredictable business and rules and discovery of opportunities that we weren't honestly educated to do, but we were educated honestly in integrity as the fundamental requirements here in North Dakota. Now, that's been said before, but you'll hear it again and again. Third thing that happened at age 56, I was offered a very kind triple severance package. I couldn't afford to miss that one. So after learning from Christine, I was too late. I thought working with UND to update its curriculum perhaps, or share business experience might be fun. And it was the first of trying to change Grandma's wedding ideas. So many other really great North Dakota alumni agreed how we would go back and fix North Dakota, if you will. And many other are not going to believe what they've seen in the last 10 years. The risk of naming all the leaders that made a difference, I would give special credit to 4 for our tenure here. First is President and Mrs. Kelly. They have a natural ability to build teamwork and make the college objectives and funding happen. Second would be Tim O'Keefe and his family, of course. He applied what he learned at McDonald's experience and business banking experience to turn around fundraising into a business ambition. We'll graduate from that market this spring, but he's done an excellent succession plan, and Deanna will write the next chapter. She's very good. Finally, Dean Hisham El-Rawini, who's introduced us in those surprise videos, reinvented the College of Engineering Mines. Enrollment doubled in 6 years, and the petroleum engineering has grown from 4 students to 200 students in 4 years. It's been a privilege to have been. We appreciate the recognition. Thank you.
Our next Sioux Award winner is an expert in his field. Such an expert, in fact, that Owen Anderson is considered to be one of just a handful of people worldwide who know the ins and outs and finer points of international petroleum transactional law. That knowledge has made Owen a popular guest lecturer at colleges and symposiums around the world. He has taught on 6 continents, co-authored a textbook, and written more than 100 articles and treatises. Owen received his undergraduate degree from UND in 1971 and a law degree in 1974. At the time, he thought his career path would take him into general law practice and possibly politics. He worked as the lawyer for the North Dakota Industrial Commission and the State Land Department in Bismarck, and realized that politics was just not a good fit for him. So in 1979, when the UND School of Law asked if Owen would like to teach oil and gas law at his alma mater, he jumped at the chance. It helped that his wife, Cassie, had also been given the opportunity to attend graduate school at UND. Thinking they would leave when she finished her schooling, Cassie and Owen instead ended up staying in Grand Forks for nearly a decade. In 1988, Owen accepted an endowed professorship at Texas Tech, and 3 years later became a chaired professor at the University of Oklahoma, where he remains today. While at UND, Owen's expertise in oil law was already getting him invitations from other universities to be a visiting professor. His reputation for understanding the intricate and complicated field of international petroleum transactions grew with each new lecture given and article written. The textbook Owen co-authored with 5 others is considered the leading reference on the topic. In fact, if you Google International Petroleum Transactional Law, the book's listing is on the top of Amazon's first page. But for all of the experiences his expertise has given him, Owen says he is most proud of his work with students. To see them succeed, he says, is a highlight of his long and distinguished academic career.
Owen has a terrific generosity of spirit. We would not be able to afford his expertise, but he comes back each summer and teaches oil and gas for us as a contribution to the law school. I think that willingness to give of himself, to give of his time, to give of his expertise shows how important it is to him to be from North Dakota and to be educated as a UND attorney.
In order to qualify for Sioux Award, there are a couple of things that anybody would have to have, and that would be loyalty, both to the university, of course, but just a characteristic of loyalty, and he certainly has that. Contribution in whatever way suits the award winner, and in his case, it's been primarily his time.
Owen has never forgotten where he came from. He has given back to the University of North Dakota in multiple ways, and in one of the most important things that he's done for us is he's given back by teaching oil and gas to our students.
That he is a world-known expert, oil and gas, and that's the third thing, expertise, and he's certainly got that.
He knows that we've got future Owen Andersons in our law school class, and he helps us make sure that they have the same strong start that he did at UND School of Law.
Owen, for becoming an expert in a field that demands a keen mind and attention to detail, for your contributions to the UND School of Law, and for your decades of excellence in the classroom. Please come forward to accept your Sioux Award.
Oh, after the first two recipients, I'm not sure I should be up here, but I'm not going to give the award back. I'm really deeply honored by this award. I cannot really imagine a greater honor than to be recognized by one's alma mater. And like the others who've received this award, I'm not a so-called self-made man. I owe much of my success to personal relationships that I have enjoyed and benefited from over my lifetime. And so I want to take this opportunity to thank a few of the people who helped me become what I am today. First, my deceased mother, Anna, for always making me do my homework as soon as I got home from school. Okay. My deceased father, Art, for providing an example of a strong work ethic, and also for teaching me the importance of sitting down with friends and family over a relaxing game of cards. He supported my educational pursuits both emotionally and financially, even though deep down I know he wanted me to be a rancher. My one-room country school teachers, who allowed me to spend my spare time in a small little anteroom that was generously called the library, where I studied geography books and atlases, dreaming of traveling to places that I never thought I would see in person. As it turned out, I've traveled a great deal. My high school teachers who encouraged me to follow my dreams, and when I was preparing for my remarks, I had to look back at the prior Sioux Award winners, and I kind of knew about these people that I'm going to mention, but I wanted to be sure I was right. I went to Binford High School. Now, for those of you who don't know where Binford is, it's halfway between Jesse and Mose, okay? Jesse is really my hometown, but I went to high school in Binford, North Dakota, and that high school never had more than 80 students in the entire high school. There have been 3 Sioux Award winners for Binford High School. I think that's statistically significant, okay? So there may be something in the water there, I'm not sure. But Ralph Krogfuss, who many of you know, and Dr. Ken Alm, and now myself. I also want to thank my many UND undergraduate professors, but especially Professors Hirschbell, Tomasek, Amdahl, Kessler, Tweeten, Thorson, Emig, and Kinghorn, who really urged me to be a better student than I thought myself capable of being. My fraternity brothers at Pi Kappa Alpha for providing this North Dakota farm boy a home and a respite from what, for me, seemed like a large and overwhelming university. My fellow law students, and especially my UND law professors, especially Robert Beck, who is here this evening, and the late Professor Bud Rumley, who prepared me to become an oil and gas lawyer before I knew that I would actually become one, and to all of my law professors for preparing me to practice law. Thanks to the education I got at UND, I've never felt out of my league on any legal front. I also especially thank Professor Jerry Davis. Had it not been for him, I would have never become a law professor. I thank my 3 of my early work supervisors when I got out of law school, Justice Gerald Vandewall, who was at the time that I knew him the best or got to know him, was the former Chief Deputy Attorney General. Alan Olson, who was the former Attorney General and Governor of North Dakota. Both of those gentlemen are here this evening. And the late Richard Lohman, the former North Dakota Land Commissioner, for giving me the opportunity to practice oil, gas, and mineral law. I thank my more senior oil and gas colleagues, including Professor Ernest Smith, who's the oil and gas professor at the University of Texas Law School. He is here this evening, for being so willing to share the limelight and for allowing me to co-author books and articles. I thank my friend Clark Musser, who's here this evening. Clark's an Oklahoma City lawyer, oil and gas lawyer, who along with the late Eugene Kuntz, they were instrumental in choosing me to hold the Kuntz Chair in oil and gas law at the OU Law School. My current dean, Joe Harris, was very influential in my being named a George Lynn Cross Research Professor at OU. I thank my wife's family, some of whom are here tonight, for giving this only child an extended family. I thank my children, Thomas and Katie, for honing my negotiation skills. And they really could still use a lot of improvement. Lastly, but most importantly, I thank my wife of over 42 years, Kathy, for being my best friend and companion. I spoke to her one morning in Merrifield Hall in February 1968. Fortunately for me, she spoke back. Unfortunately, she's been speaking back to me for 42 plus years. But I also wanted to take just a few minutes to share my thoughts with you about state-supported higher education. Dominance in higher education is our country's really greatest competitive asset. And wherever I teach in the world, I encounter students who want to come to the United States. And the reason for that is it's quite simply nearly all of the great universities and colleges are located here in this country. Now, our country's greatest period of economic growth occurred in the decades following World War II, thanks in large part to a 500% increase in the number of young people choosing to go to college, myself and my wife included. Much of this increase was due to the GI Bill. However, in the past decade, the United States has dropped from first place to 12th place in the percentage of high school graduates going to college, largely due to high tuition costs. This decline can only have a decidedly negative impact on employment opportunities, earning power, and on America's ability to compete in the global economy. In state after state, state legislatures are reducing financial support for public colleges and universities, making university alumni all the more important to make contributions. And as a result, our great public universities are being transformed into more expensive private universities that receive only small amounts of public support. I came to OU, the University of Oklahoma, in 1992, actually not directly from Texas Tech. I came from the University of Texas, but at that time, the state of Oklahoma provided about 35% of the university's budget. Now the state of Oklahoma provides only 15%, and that percentage is likely to decline further. For most of the time between 1910 and 1930, Oklahoma led the world in oil production. It's still a major producer of natural gas. But Oklahoma lost its opportunity to lead the nation in higher education by making some poor spending decisions way back when oil revenues were flowing in, and later by offering tax cuts in the face of declining oil prices in the 1980s and 90s that really didn't do much to spur oil and gas development. Try as you might, a state really cannot spur oil investment when oil prices are low. Today, North Dakota, with its low population and vast oil wealth, stands about where Oklahoma did in 1920. If North Dakota maintains its oil and gas tax base, if it invests those revenues wisely, it can establish an educational system, primary, secondary, and higher, that will be the envy of the other 49. Well, in closing, I would want to acknowledge a couple of other people. First of all, I came here, and it was a freshman in 1967. I graduated in 1971. Tim O'Keefe followed that same pattern, although Tim went into business world and I went on to law school. And I just want to thank Tim for his work with the Alumni Association. I also want to thank Deanna for taking on the job, and I was visiting with her before the dinner tonight. If you ever meet someone with the last name of Zink, they're from Carrington or they're married to somebody from Carrington, see? And so I knew that, and sure enough, you know, just to show you that North Dakota is a small state, you know, her cousin married my cousin, you know, so true story. Now, I also want to mention that Kathy and I were at the University of Wyoming in the spring of 2008. I was teaching a short course there at the University of Wyoming when I was on leave from the University of Oklahoma in oil and gas law. And the dean was a friend of mine. And it was at that time when we were there that a fellow by the name of Bob Kelly got appointed or designated the president of the University of North Dakota. He was a professor at the University of Wyoming. So the dean of the law school made an arrangement to have Kathy and I have a meal with Bob and Marcia Kelly. We became fast friends. We went on a Grand Canyon trip together a few years ago. And Bob, I just want to thank you for coming to UND and carrying on the tradition of good presidents at this university. Thank you, the UND Alumni Association, for this recommendation. I've been very fortunate. I've very much enjoyed my career. I can frankly not imagine wanting to do anything else. UND helped make my dream come true. Now my job is helping other students make their dreams come true. Thank you.
Our last, but certainly not least deserving recipient is a successful businesswoman who has never forgotten where she came from and how much UND means to her. Linda Olson Pancratz grew up in Grand Forks and earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, graduating in 1976 with honors. After spending much of her professional life in telecommunications, Linda is today the chairman and CEO of Mountain Capital, LLC, an investment company. Linda held a number of senior management positions with US West before moving to the United Kingdom in 1995 to manage a business the company had acquired. 2 years later, she participated in a management buyout of TDL Infomedia Limited. Under her leadership, a subsidiary was recognized as one of the Times top 100 companies in the UK and received the Investors in People Award. When the business was later sold to an Italian company, she stayed on as chairman and CEO until she retired. She also served on a variety of company boards in the UK, France, Belgium, and Italy. With all of her international work experience, Linda has never forgotten the University of North Dakota. She has served on the board of directors of the Alumni Association and Foundation, including time as the chair of the foundation board. She has also been a key leader in the North Dakota Spirit Campaign, as she is the co-chair of that extremely successful effort. Linda has been a loyal and generous supporter of UND as well. The Pancratz Career Development Center in the College of Business and Public Administration bears the name of Linda and her late husband, Mark, a 1977 graduate of UND. Linda says it was important to them to add value to a UND education by providing a place where students can get guidance and coaching, connect with mentors in internships, get help with their initial job search, and receive ongoing support for their career advancement. Not too many years ago, Linda gave the address at winter commencement. She told the students that, quote, UND is a very special place, a place where an ordinary person like me, a girl from Grand Forks, can get an extraordinary education, an education that is priceless and transformational, an education that changes opportunities and changes lives, end quote.
Linda's roots are North Dakota, and she's very respectful of that. And I think with her business career and the dedication and accomplishments she made as a businesswoman, both here and in Europe, she's a natural leader.
The room is captive to her personality and the way that she draws people in. Again, much like with the Sioux Award, I think that for people across the country that are so proud of the University of North Dakota, all that really is North Dakota spirit is symbolized through Linda Pancratz. Been a mentor of mine, had real impact, I think, on many of us inside the Alumni Association Foundation, was a leader on our board. Everything that is symbolic as far as the Sioux Award is concerned, you can see through Linda Pancratz.
She has a great imagination, she has a great vision, and she's a believer that if you can dream it, you can do it. And that really says a lot about an individual, and I think that certainly says a lot about the kind of person that Linda is.
Linda, in recognition of your business acumen, your generous philanthropy, and your leadership in the Spirit campaign, please come forward to accept your Sioux Award.
Well, it's difficult going last, but I can tell we all have shared history, shared stories. I also want to thank Tim, the board of the Alumni Association and Foundation, and President Kelly for this honor. And Deanna, thank you for those kind words. I swear you can make anyone look good. And congratulations to the other Sioux Award winners. I am humbled as well to be a part of this extraordinary group. You know, we have all heard of the 6 degrees of separation, but in North Dakota, I think it's really 2. Cassie and I met during a commencement, and she impressed me even then. Chad, not only do we have a long history of deep family friendships, our families are actually related. You may not have known that. And Bob and I served on the board together, and Bob and Kris and I served on the National Campaign Steering Committee. And Owen's second cousin is a Delta Gamma and one of my best friends from college, and I have to say she's at my table this evening. Not that we're competitive or anything, are we, Owen? Many years ago, Randy Newman and I actually bonded in Disney World at the top of Space Mountain. Do you remember that, Randy? I know. You may all see Randy as a very successful, sophisticated banker. I see him as Mr. Fun, carrying a sparkling tiara and a princess wand that he bought for his daughter, Stacy. I don't know, Stacy, if you still have it, but your dad carried that around. So sometimes, Randy, when you see me and I break out in a big smile, now you know why. It's always great to come back to North Dakota, to home, to Grand Forks, to UND. And I'm going to repeat what Deanna said, because the University of North Dakota is a very special place, a place where an ordinary person like me can get an extraordinary education, an education that really did change my opportunities and change my life. And you know, I suspect that that's true for most of the people in this room. As I was growing up, UND was always a part of my life. My dad worked for the university. He was a janitor at the Chester Fritz Library. And on Saturday mornings, he would take me over to campus and he'd show off his building. He was proud of that library. For me, it was more than just a building. It was truly a magical place. And I loved to read, and I thought that this had to be one of the most interesting, most exciting places in the world. And you know, I wondered if I would ever be one of those cool-looking students, sitting there so quietly, looking so studious, surrounded by all those fascinating books. Well, years later, I realized when I was here that many of those students were probably just a bit hungover. But at the time, it did inspire me. At a very early age, UND provided this ordinary girl from Grand Forks many wonderful opportunities to see football games and hockey games and basketball games. And some of you know that at the age of 10, I fell hopelessly in love with Phil Jackson. It's true. We were able to attend concerts, and we even got to hear a president, President Kennedy, speak, and we were able to be inspired. It's an understatement to say that UND really opened up my world. UND has not only given me the gifts of critical thinking, curiosity, and lifelong learning, UND has given me my lifelong partner and many of our lifelong friends. And so many of you are here this evening. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. But if you think about it, UND has really given all of us, and I think you heard it in everyone's comments, an extraordinary education that has prepared us to enjoy productive careers, make meaningful contributions to society, lead rich and full lives. What a gift. My husband, Mark, and I have truly had a rich life, and it started right here at UND. Like many of you, our first date was to a party. It was to his Sigma Chi activation party. I remember it well. We stayed out all night, but we won't go there. And we had been together ever since, for almost 40 years. When we got married, we thought we were the luckiest people in the whole world because we got to live in married student housing. And not the tin huts. We got to live at 111 Northwestern Drive, a 2-bedroom. We paid $90 a month in rent, and we thought we knew how to live. Anyway, armed with a great education and the love and support of our dear family and friends, we were able to experience wonderful careers. We moved around the United States, and we spent 12 and a half years in the UK, which actually produced our greatest gift of all, our daughter, Elizabeth. But it really was UND that instilled in me a love of business and a passion for developing people and building businesses, creating something of real value. And I can actually trace the kindling of those passions back to my UND days, sitting in a lecture hall, or a one-on-one with a professor, or even studying at the Chester Fritz. And yes, sometimes a bit hungover myself. But over the years, I've had the opportunity to come back home to UND and talk with numerous students. And I cherish those conversations. Why? Because I learn more from their great questions than they could ever have learned from my answers. And it's been an honor and a privilege to serve the Alumni Association and Foundation as members of the board, and to be part of the National Campaign Steering Committee, and to work with the leadership of this university, the deans, the faculty, and the staff. I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to be associated with such an incredible group of people, people that I truly respect and admire, are passionate about our university, and are proud of their North Dakota roots. And I'd just like to encourage all of us, and I know many of you do this, but continue to seize the opportunity to stay connected to this great university. Stay connected to the students, the faculty, the leadership, and each other. Whether we give of our time, our talent, or our treasure, I think we continue to learn so much, and we continue to get so much in return. Lastly, I'd like to express my appreciation and gratitude for some people that can't be here and for someone that is here. To my parents for believing in me and helping me to see that anything was possible. To my husband, Mark, my late husband, Mark, for supporting me and actually making everything possible. And to our daughter, Elizabeth, for making it all worthwhile. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this great university. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another warm round of applause for our 2013 Young Alumni Achievement and Sioux Award recipients. Randy, Owen, Bob, and Christine, Linda, Cassie, and Chad. Tonight, you've joined a select and remarkable group of UND alumni and friends who are excellent examples of UND spirit. The way that you have carried North Dakota spirit with you is an inspiration to us all. I have to pause for just a moment, Linda, and tell the rest of that story on Phil Jackson, who you were able to meet at one point in time. And a few years ago, Linda and Mark and Lizzie went to a Denver Nuggets game against the LA Lakers. Lakers were out warming up. Phil came walking across the floor. Linda and Mark were looking at him. Lizzie looked at him and said to her mother, "Mom, I'm sorry, but I just don't know what you see in him." It wasn't our deliberate intention, but as we close the North Dakota Spirit Campaign tomorrow, I'm also struck tonight that we honor individuals whose life path began in Binford, Hazen, Lakota, Can-Do, and Grand Forks, North Dakota. The symbolism speaks for itself, defining the best of North Dakota spirit. Now, this is a point where the staff gives me instructions to wrap up, and the first thing I see is no twerking. And on behalf of all of us at the UND Alumni Association and Foundation, please stay and enjoy a post-dinner reception for mingling and reminiscing. I enjoy you all of you to celebrate as long as you'd like. There'll be a cash bar open. The room is yours for the rest of the evening. You've been a great audience. Thank you and good night.